Hello and welcome to another APF tutorial video, and this one is going to be about player statistics. So when you're playing in a season or a franchise, you're going to want to see all of the cool stats that your players have accumulated throughout the years, and APFe gives it to you. So what you're going to want to do is go down to, actually there's a couple places that you do it. You can actually look at your stats through the player editor, the very bottom. It will show you this guy is a defensive tackle, so you can see all of his defensive stats, 30 tackles, and you can look at this is for every year, by the way. It also has playoffs too if you've hit the playoffs, but in this case we're on week 6, and in here you're going to be able to see your different stats. Okay, but if you go down to the player stats menu here, this little guy running, you're going to be able to see all of the different um, stats. And season type is really the difference between a playoff and a season. So once you hit the playoffs, you're going to see playoffs in here. And that's kind of cool because you can either combine the playoff with the season stats, or you can just say, how did this guy do in playoff games? Is he a clutch guy, and does he really come through when the playoffs are in the mix? So in this case, we're in week 6, so all we see are season stats. And if you want to look and see who's got the highest passing rating, you can do that very easily. And you can look at every player in here, and you can see where they stand. You can look at how many people what QB has the highest completion. There's a lot of stats. And one thing I recommend doing is maximizing your screen, because it gives you the most uh, landscape here, the most area where you can actually go through and look at your stats. These columns are frozen, so you can actually see, what year, if it's season or playoff type, if it's, the name, if they're healthy, what star, position, and team, and the rest of it is the right size. So I think maximizing it gives you a better view. But you can see all this stuff. You can see who has the highest kick return yards. Johnny Mackey. You can see their averages. Lem Barney. He's famous for kick returns, right? And he's a return specialist, right? So that makes sense. But it's kind of cool, man. We've never had this before with APF, and I get excited about this because this is something that is brand new, and I know the game has stats, but on here, I believe I have even more stats than APF has. And I also, in this editor, also can be used on a PC, so you can easily, look through this. Down the road, if there's functionality and there's support for this, and people want to export this out into a spreadsheet, that's easy to do. I can add that in. But for now, it's just on the PC here, and you can sort and you can look through this stuff. You can filter by certain positions. Like if you only want to see how all of the wide receivers are doing and you want to see their stats, you can do that. You can say, okay, who has the highest receptions just for wide receivers? You can look at it just by team. If I want to see how my Owls are performing, just the wide receivers, I can do that. So you have a lot of power because you can pivot the data and you can filter the data and you can do a lot of cool things within the player stats grid. And as you click on each player, you'll see on the very top here, those details will change, depending on the player, right? So it gives you a quick, detail on them. But and you can also click on the name and you'll get their editor. I'm sorry, their player detail window, which is pretty much the same thing you see here. And then you can also do edit, and that will take you to the player editor for that player. There's a lot of cool things you can do, and as in every grid that we have, as you filter, you can just see how many rows you have here, and you can do show all. You can also reset the filters if you want to reset it and see all the players for the Owls in this case, and you can do all the teams again, or you could just do you can just click down here and do show all. Last thing I'll say, like I said, there's a lot of functionality because it's multi-year and it's also with playoffs. So when the playoffs come in, You're going to see the playoff stats. You're going to see season, as I mentioned earlier, but you're also going to be able to do it over multiple years if you want to do that. So this is the player stats grid. I've done a lot of work optimizing it, making it very fast to go through and scroll through and look at anything you want on the fly. And hopefully this makes your franchise experience that much more rewarding. And that's it. So let me know if you have any questions. Leave them in the comments section, and any feedback. And happy modding. And I'll catch you in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.